Hey, this is Leanne Moody, and I appreciate you joining me today. I also have a website, 1000faces.net, and I'm just really happy you're joining me at my YouTube channel. I have been an inspirational voice for higher thought for the last 30 plus years of my life that I could actually qualify it and structure it and call it something. Um, it has been my understanding after all of this time that we are born with such remarkable abilities and gifts, and how we are socialized really does have leave an imprint on how we come into our awarenesses, gifts, talents, and abilities throughout our life based on how we were socialized into this world with those gift, talents, and abilities. Many times they aren't recognized, many times they are recognized, and many times they are literally intentionally snuffed out to a point where you don't realize you still have them. So today, I'm just really grateful that you and clearly all of nature decided to step in right now and visit with us um, and talk about some of these things. It happens to be in the US anyway, Independence Day, the 4th of July, and that always brings up an interesting feeling for me because, quite frankly, the last several 4th of Julys in my life were filled with some chaos that I did not understand and that deeply impacted how I felt about me and this world that we're living in, and how human beings treat one another. And so to be here now in this sweet, sweet space on this sweet, sweet day and have had the most beautiful, fun time I've had in several years last night was evidence to me that I am growing continually into who I choose and want to be, and that my world, my universe, matches what it is I'm saying, doing, and feeling. Now, when I say that, there's a part of me that gets a little anxious, going, that means that all the yucky stuff was a reflection of just me. And that makes me feel less than somehow if I look at it from that perspective. And what I want to talk to you about today is learning to look at everything from a new perspective, a higher perspective, a lens that says, yes, this is the material element of creation happening, and yet there is a much higher element of creation going on that you're not seeing yet, and that I wasn't seeing yet, and the steps I was needing to take were actually the beginning steps of creating where I am in today's moment. And so and that's an ongoing process, as if what I've already put out there was created for me all along. Sometimes it's absolutely instantaneous, and other times there are going to be steps that have to be taken in order for that to unfold in a way that I can fully grasp what is happening and actually honor the reality of that experience. Now, I don't really know how I dove into that this morning, except that there's been so much going on recently in my world in particular, and then in the world surrounding me, and in the conversations I've been having with people. And most of that has been about sitting back and settling down into who you are and what exactly you want to do and how you want to feel and grow and be in this life that you chose and that you've been given as a result of your choices. Um, that again will take you into a narrative that if something's going on in your life that's very, very painful or unacceptable to you, then you'll feel less than. Unless you recognize that in that experience, there are two sides always. And you alone have the ability to bring a new form of understanding to what's happening and watch that vibration come in to actual fruition. Um, so what I want to point out is that also everybody, the narrative is let your past go. I've been singing it loud as well. One of the things that's been a little confusing for me that I think might be confusing for all of us has been in that I'm a storyteller. And my journey as an intuitive, as a person who holds space for healing to take place, as someone who channels, who recognizes the the gifts and abilities that are given to many of us, and actually has utilized them because as a means of survival. I didn't know any other way than to develop myself in these ways. So I say survival. On another hand, it might be looked at as it wasn't a means of survival at all. It was my evolvement taking place. I was always going to do it. And I came in and was always going to have certain challenges that I would have to work with in order to be sitting in this place now. And 3 years from now, I'll be able to understand why I'm sitting in this place now and why I'm sitting somewhere else where I still have my vision unfolding, if that makes any sense. And I'm always questioning that. Doesn't mean I'm questioning it for me. It's that I want to make sure I'm making sense for you, because the only reason I'm doing this is for us together to grow and learn. And I'm a natural teacher, and I want to teach, and I want to help where I can help to make the journey more joyful for you. Which brings me back to square one, which is letting your past go and why. And then understanding how to utilize the past to support the why as well. So what I didn't understand by letting my past go was that what I'm letting go of is feeling that in any way my past was wounding to me. It might have wounded me, but at this point, do I understand the absolute value of finding the gift in blessing every single thing that happened to me? Now, there have been some pretty tough things that have happened. And I know I speak for all of us when I go, well, I don't know where that particular ass kicking came from, or why, or what I did to deserve it, or the hate-filled rhetoric that came around it. And yet people can say, well, you brought that in from your past life, or you brought that in from this, or you do that, or blah, blah, blah. It's what you believe about yourself. I'm like, okay, all of that. But there's a place in me where I go, I'm tired of deep diving into that. I don't need to deep dive into that anymore. I don't think I've done anything bad any longer. I don't think that I've deserved or not deserved any of it. I think that in my developmental process to get where I'm at today, I was going to go through some things where I started to understand how to bring life back into balance, how to envision what it is I need and want at all levels, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in any way possible, and then be able to let go of the parts that hurt that took place to get me here. Now, one of the things that's so beautiful to me is the art of storytelling. I love sharing how I've come to understand who I am and what I'm doing here. And I'm not saying that narrative doesn't change, and I don't wake up some days going, I can't even remember who I am or what I'm doing here, because I do have those days. I have what's called Sun squaring Neptune, which means I wake up every day and literally kind of have to wipe the fog off the mirror to figure out who I am. And naturally, as a human being, we wake up in the morning and we start looking for identifiers to say, this is who I am, and that's what I'm upset about, and that's what I'm scared of, and that's what I've got to get done, and that's where I'm weak, and that's what has to happen, and this is where I'm going today, or this is how I'm going to project my energy so I'm strong, or I'm this, or I'm that. And where would we be without any of that every day? We would be in a completely clean slate. And so now I understand, after all these years, what I've been doing and what I'm doing, which is wiping that mirror off every single morning, figuring out who I am before I ever get out of bed, and then creating the narrative for what I want for that day. I don't mean that some people do go through every single step. I typically go through, this is what I'm letting go of, and this is what I want to bring more in. And then I talk to my soul, or this being that I love so much, and I actually say, I need your help with all this. I don't know how to do it, but I know you do. This is what I'm wanting. And so when that narrative is happening, I start to realize that I utilize my past so that I can create my future. Now, if we look at that and we look at the standard principle behind that, that's been the narrative we were taught to do growing up. That narrative was, well, if this happened to you, then don't do that again, and always remember. So it teaches you, most of us were taught to use fear to decipher what was okay based on what had happened before and to never let that happen again. And so then we've come to epidemic proportions now of not being able to love openly, not being able to be vulnerable openly, being afraid of how bad that will hurt again, shutting things down that need to be flowing open, shutting our development down because we're afraid of what it will look like if we go through anything remotely like that again, or what we saw someone else go through. So the using of the past up to this point for many, many of us has been to create fear-based structures that hold us towing the line. So if I want to use stories to explain what's happened to me, because my entire journey as someone who holds the light in this world and wants to be a communicator of joy and inspiration to others, because it's what brings joy to me, and how do I utilize stories that were experiential in nature 100% of the time that brought me to this place? How do I use those stories in order to not bring forth old wounding? Because a lot of times old wounding is what's put me in the middle of those stories in the first place, and then took me from A to Z so that I saw the flip side of the story and was able to go, oh my gosh. And then energy would rush through my body, and light would rush through my body, and love would rush through my body, and I wasn't making it up. There's a room full of angels looking at me, or a room full of grandmothers clapping for me, or my own DNA legacy singing to me, or I'm out in the cosmos and the stars are all alive and laughing and singing to me and laughing with me. I didn't make these things up, and I know that people who have these experiences are not making them up. So I guess my point is, in the realm of legacy, or offering legacy forward, which would mean telling stories that about what happened to me on my own journey to where I'm at now, to where I trust completely my ability to hear what I'm being told, to see and understand what's happening with, say, a person who's with me or a family who's with me needing information, and being able to communicate with them and understand that I am literally speaking at the cellular soul level with them and then back with me. How do I take that and move that forward into the present moment and not say, well, I'm hanging on to the past, it's just a story? And that's what I'm putting forth to you today, is to go, I am going to tell stories. And I'm going to tell stories about what happened to me in order for you and I to meet at the center point and realize if that what's been happening to me might very well have been happening to you. Possibly it's been happening to you forever, and you have other stories you could tell on top of that. All of it's relevant and none of it matters, except that are we inspiring one another to work or to not work, to exist within a knowledge base that we know is real, and to trust it even when the world's throwing things at us that says don't, you better get back over here and be afraid. And yeah, that's what I want to say to you is, I'm going to tell stories on this channel, and I might reference that I was in a lot of pain during those stories. What I'm not referencing is that pain is still driving me. It was the recognition of what happened, and then the gift that was given in return when I showed up completely vulnerable and open and said, yes, I remember the light, I know that the light is real. I'm here for the light. I'm here for the journey, the curiosity, the excitement. But more than anything, I came in knowing something. And I know each one of you did as well. It doesn't mean it's the same as mine. But I came into this world knowing something. And that is that I know what joy feels like. I know what it means to feel joy. And if I had whatever time I have left in this physical body, because let me tell you something, I had no idea. This is such a short ride. It is so, so short that the one thing I want to be, not only to myself, but to anyone that I am communicating with in any way, is a source of joy. I want full transparency. I know that just like anyone else, I tend sometimes, if something hurts, I pull back. I hide for a little bit. But I really want to put it out there to you today that if I say on this video, I love you, I'm not kidding. I really love you. And I don't have to know you. I already do know you. I know that the collective consciousness is real. And I know that my heart understands this. And I know that my head understands this. And this lifetime of bringing these two things into alignment and taking all the fear that I felt as a child and didn't understand, and all the rage that I felt coming in at me that I took on as my own, thinking it was me. I didn't understand that the whole time, I was completely okay. I was completely okay. And the gratitude I have felt over the years of working with clients and their experiences, me being able to take them or hold the space for them to find those experiences and us to open up those painful places and just see the light that was in there all along and have them experience it, me experience it. I can't even tell you. Or just over a simple conversation where the narrative completely switches and you suddenly go, I never thought of it like that. And then it's done. The wound's over. That happened. Yep, yes. Did that happen to me? Yeah, it did happen to me. Did that happen to you? Yes, it did happen to you. It's happened to a lot of people. What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna find a place to release it? We're gonna work together and release it? Am I gonna hold you? Are you gonna hold me while I weep? Yes. But you're also gonna remind me that I am a child of this universe. I came in freely of my own free will. I have the support of all the tools that I could ever hope to have. The abundance in this universe. You look out behind me and try and count how many leaves are on this, what you can get in this photograph of this frame on this video, and you try to say it's not an abundant universe. It's a hugely abundant universe. And whatever God is, whatever words you want to use, not use, it's not a belief, it's a being. It's a beingness, being what it is that you want to see, feel, experience in this world. And you can't let the outside world decide what that is for you. So as I tell my stories here, and as I reach out to you over and over again, and I grow and develop in the ways that I'm curious about, I hope you'll be along for the ride, and I hope you'll respond to me on this video and share how you're feeling. And yeah, just know that love is real, and vulnerability means having the courage to be afraid and do it anyway, or at least open the door and check it out. But we have so many options here for how to bring this light in through the entire cellular body, to breathe it into your body, that I won't even get off on a tangent on that now, but I can just tell you the last 3.5 years of my life, along with the ride in general, had beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moments of learning through all my stories. And then it's continued to also have challenges. It's only now that I'm starting to relax in the midst of challenges and go, It really is a short ride, and I know exactly how I want to feel as I take the next leg of this journey. And so, anyway, I hope this helps you stop and smile today. I hope that whatever you're doing, you'll take a long breath by yourself, go out into nature. If you can't get to nature, imagine it. I don't care where you are, what your circumstances are. Go to your heart and imagine what it would feel like if there was light inside of it. Just play the game. You are much more capable than you realize. And please know that my compassion for wherever you're at is extremely high, and my love for you supersedes that from every angle. My name is Leanne Moody, and I'm really, really happy you're coming along for the ride. I look forward to our communication. I hope you'll like this video, and if you like it, I would appreciate if you subscribe to it so that I have the ability to create more content and to keep things going. I've been dreaming of this for what feels like a million lifetimes, including many, many incarnations in this life, and just grateful to be here. So you can also find me on Instagram at leanne.moody, and you can find me at my website, 1000faces.net. And you have to spell that out, and Leanne Moody has to be spelled out. So LeanneMoody.net. Happy, happy, happy today. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.